on the spectrum of entrepreneurship, my husband and I talk about this a lot, that some people are really cut out only to be an entrepreneur. The franchise model is just too strict and restrictive.
Mm.
As you've moved now into two new areas of your own life, do the two play together well in your head? Does one scratch the back of the other at all?
You know what I appreciate about Pause that's keeping me dialed in with collective women's leadership is it's constantly bringing back the importance of branding, which I know very well from my past. However, it continues to keep me, everything I'm continuing to do and grow with collective women's leadership, it's keeping my branded brain on, which is very important in entrepreneurship, which most people miss. And that's the number one. If they're not in franchising because they think it's too hard or too restrictive, great. If you think you're going to go out and do it on your own and you don't know anything about branding, you will fail.
So,
period, end of story. It's not even up for negotiation. And then they look and they'll say, "Oh, why did I fail?" Well, you fell because you had no brand message, you had no branding, nothing was curated, all of the things. So that's where I challenge and push back, is they think that franchising is too restrictive. I hope they know a thing or two about branding.
And that is so true. When I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, it takes half a second to look at your profile and say, she's got it figured out. And when I was reading through, I wasn't paying attention to the dates that you had been in major retail, but obviously you've been with some big brands. I do agree that plays heavily into your knowledge base, just to see Nordstrom, Tag Heuer, to some of the other.
You can't learn it in a book. You cannot learn branding from a textbook. You cannot learn branding from going to school. You have to really learn the nuances of what branding is. And branding, if you look at the brands that I represented, and now you're looking at Pause, and if you put all of that together, it's no wonder I came up with collective women's leadership, and it's so branded nicely after only 1 year. It all fits together very specifically. The first retailer I worked for was Nordstrom. Talk about a brand and identity and a message, right? And then I moved on to the Limited, which was Victoria's Secret at the time. Talk about a brand and a message and identity. Tiffany and Company, Tag Heuer, Wynn Resorts, right? And now Pause, and then you pair all of that with Pause, and then that's how she landed in and figured out collective women's leadership so quickly.
So how are you growing that business? I know how a franchise grows. How are you growing your own personal brand?
I think, well, I get asked all the time when and if women can open chapters in their cities, which I'm very protective of, because collective women's leadership is something that I've curated. So I have to be very careful about that. So I may take some scripts out of the Pause playbook. I don't know, but probably. I grow it with the app. I grow it with brand awareness. I grow it with, now in today's age, you have to have a social media footprint. And all of the social media footprints that I have, regardless of if it's my personal or my branded ones, they're all very cohesive. And I talk a lot about that with women who are up and coming and emergent leaders and trying to figure out how to personally brand themselves. So it starts with you, first and foremost, having a personal brand. And then that has to play into and be very seamless into the brand that you're creating.
And to me, that gets into a lot of women are in their head too much, too too uncertain. There's so many words that I could use right now, and you know what I mean. I was at a women's leadership conference last October, and there was a panel of men, and one of the men said, it was all women in the audience, and he looked out and he said, "I can tell you what's wrong. I see a job opportunity. I'm going to put my hat in the ring. I'm 50% sure that I'm qualified for it, but I'm going to go for it. You're going to wait until you're almost 100% sure." And that is what a lot of women do is, "Oh, I'm not qualified.